following is a presentation of the Colonial Radio Theater on Brilliance Audio.
So, Senor Pirate, at last your reign of terror ends.
Ah! I am Bardoso, king of the pirates. My reign is unending, Zorro. Yours, however. You're no match for me, Senor Zorro. Do us both a favor. Lay down your arms and surrender like a gentleman.
I did not follow you halfway up California to simply relent.
Oh, enough, Zorro. Now with the tip of your sword in my throat, you have me at your mercy. If you are truly a man of justice, go ahead. See justice done.
With pleasure.
What?
You see, Senor Pirate, I, unlike yourself, am not only a man of justice, but a man of honor. Your fighting grows weaker. You are getting old.
By the saints!
It is true and you know it. So I offer you an honorable choice.
What choice could you possibly have to offer me?
The choice to lead a life of virtue, to renounce your ways. Come, pirate. Neither of us are getting younger. Do you really want to be crossing swords until we are not even strong enough to hold one?
And if I refuse your generous offer?
Then my blade shall choose your destiny.
I see.
Come, senor. You have everything to gain. Who knows? You may even grow to enjoy such a life.
And what will be in it for me?
Your soul. And 4,000 pesos.
5,000. In gold.
Very well, Bardoso. If for 5 years you can find yourself a better life and live it well, then you shall have 5,000 gold pieces.
It is a fair trade, though I will get as much in a day from loot.
Come, I will escort you back to the pueblo. Then I must away.
Oh? Where?
The family by the coast. I have a promise to keep, something I must return to.
Look, the clouds are parting.
It is a new day for the both of us, Senor Bardoso. Perhaps one that has no need of El Zorro.
Huh?
It is time I took my leave, to disappear into the shadows like my namesake. But lest you become too tempted to stray from the path, I will have my eyes on you.
Will you never return then?
Perhaps I shall not. But should the day come when evil overruns the land again, then I shall have no choice but to ride again.
The Colonial Radio Theater on the Air presents Zorro Rides Again. Zorro Rides Again, dramatized by Jerry Robbins, with additional dialogue by Dennis Cordell, from the original novel by D.J. Arneson, as adapted from a story by Johnston McCulley. Starring Kevin Cerrone as Zorro and Don Diego, Jeremy Benson as Captain Rocha, and the Colonial Radio Players.
You!
Senor,
What are you looking at?
I am looking at nothing.
So I am nothing, am I?
I was not looking at you, senor.
And you are a liar as well. Now get out! That is the way to handle the scum. A kick and a cuff, eh? Why were natives placed here if not for our service, ah?
But he did nothing to you.
I did not like his looks, and that was enough for me. More wine for my friends, landlord.
As I was about to ask you, Conrado, how was El Camino Real tonight?
The great yellow serpent that winds through the hills? Too long and dusty as ever, my friend. But
We rode safely.
Ah, but what a great highway it is, no? All the way from San Francisco Asís in the north to San Diego de Alcala in the south. And then...
What say you, big sergeant?
Senor?
Is that how to handle these scum, or is it not?
Senor, I was talking with my friend here about...
With a kick in a cuff and a toss out the door? The way I just did with that fellow who looks did not suit me?
Who is that man?
Ignore him, Sergeant Garcia. His name is Lopez. He's only a rover and a trader. He arrived this afternoon and has been prattling endlessly ever since.
Well, what say you? Why, that reminds me of another time at San Juan Capistrano, when I single-handedly took on
I shall go
four at
mad.
once.
Listen to the
No
braggart!
match were they for me. No match! I am an excellent trader. I buy hides from the ignorant Indians for prices that are laughably low because they know not how to complain and sell them at a handsome profit. And listen to this. If they bring me goods I think they have stolen from the missions, I rebuke them for being thieves and shame them into selling them to me for a few coins. Am I not clever?
Not so! That is no clever! A clever man would...
Maybe steal back the coins he paid.
Yes, he would steal back the coins he paid.
And a truly clever man would steal from the friars themselves.
And a truly clever man would steal from the friars themselves.
Why?
Why?
Just for the adventure of it.
For the adventure! And that is what a clever man would do.
Do you mean to intimate that I am not clever?
Sergeant Garcia! Please, do not tear him limb from limb and break my furniture.
Then I shall drag him outside.
But remember the Commandante's order regarding merchants. They have rights.
Si, senor. You are clever. But you are also very fortunate. Had you been using such methods 3 years ago, your career would have been cut very short indeed.
How is this?
Senor Zorro would not have allowed such abuse of the Indians when he rode the highway. Ha! What a man! Friend of the oppressed! Bold swordsman! With his swift blade and whip at his side, he rode the magnificent horse Tornado out of the shadows to strike, and then disappear. They called him the Curse of Capistrano. Yet, he was a blessing.
I have heard the legend.
A legend! I will have you know, Senor Merchant, that Zorro was a caballero like no other, and my very good friend.
It is no wonder he wore a mask. How could such a man, a caballero yet, stoop to defend Indians and friars?
Stoop? My friend Zorro stoop? Zorro stoops to nobody but his God.
I suppose he had his fun, and I have no doubt he played with his blade and made fools of the soldiers. But did he ever handle a proper man? I ask you. Or did he only enjoy himself by punishing those it was no danger to punish?
By the saints! I shall endure no more of this! Senor Lopez, you are poised on the brink of death this very instant! Merchant or no merchant, orders or no orders, if I hear one more word, one more insinuation against Zorro. Innkeeper, more wine.
If Zorro would only ride again, just long enough to handle this merchant.
Zorro, he called himself, huh? The fox. And what was it he did? Ah, yes, I remember. He cut the letter Z into the face of his victims, no? They called it the mark of Zorro. Ah! A pretty caballero having fun.
I shall go mad!
Whether he would ride again or not, this Senor Zorro would scarcely seem fit to attack me. Anyway, he has had his fling. Landlord, my score. I must pay and go, but don't rob me too much.
Make haste, landlord, and open the door. And leave it open if you respect me for a friend, so that the stench of this fellow may blow out with him.
Good evening to you, Sergeant.
By the saints! What have I ever done that I must hold my hand when it itches for the hilt of my sword? The nerve of the braggart to belittle my good friend, Senor Zorro!
Well, do I remember when Senor Zorro rode and fought in this very room?
And now he is gone. After he defeated Bardoso and his band of pirates, and forced the treacherous Capitan Ramon to flee in shame to Mexico, Zorro vanished like smoke. We will never learn his true identity.
His friends are still with us. We must not forget the brave caballeros who rode at Zorro's side.
True.
And what of Don Diego and De La Vega? Even though he did not ride with the caballeros, it is said that he is a special friend of Zorro.
Rumors.
If you would listen, every man would tell you he is a friend of Zorro.
Is that not what you told the merchant Lopez?
Perhaps Don Diego was a special friend. However, he did not fight at Zorro's side as I did.
Then perhaps you can tell us where Zorro is now.
None of us would tell you, even if we knew.
I wonder if this so-called fox is nothing more than a ghost.
He did fight here. You think I don't remember it? It was me he fought. On these very stones and on these same tables. He played cat and mouse with me. And what a blade. His sword was at my throat before I knew my own blade was on the floor. And then he laughed and was gone. The next time we met was in Bardoso's foul camp, when Bardoso and his pirate crew kidnapped the lovely Senorita Dolita Pulido as a prize for Capitan Ramon. Of course, I knew Capitan Ramon was a traitor, so I fought against him even though I knew he was my comandante. We had seen Zorro walk the plank and given him up for dead, but by the grace of God he survived, and we fought side by side. When the pirates were finally beaten and Ramon fled in shame to Mexico, Zorro and I returned Senorita Pulido to her fiancé, Don Diego.
And then?
Who knows? Senorita Lolita was to wed Don Diego, but the wedding was postponed because she was too upset by the kidnapping. She went to Spain with her mother to recover. Now she is well and has returned.
And the wedding?
Perhaps it will be soon.
Meanwhile, Don Diego waits patiently.
Enough of weddings.
We speak of Zorro, not love. Mere mush and nonsense. For such a man to leave us, my friends, there is no longer any spice to life. Why be a soldier if there is no fighting to be done? I tell you, I long for those days when Zorro rode the highway and played his daring game. He would whip a thief at San Juan Capistrano one night, then ride to Santa Barbara for more of the same, and then return here to Riena de los Angeles, while everyone searched for him somewhere else. He was a true friend of the oppressed. He punished when punishment was needed, and the authorities would not give it. We need someone like that now, my friends.
Nothing else has changed. The friars are still being robbed. The Indians are being mistreated. But this time there is no Zorro to help them. Now, only his memory remains. I go. At least, when a man sleeps, he does not have to think of such things. Adios!
Look! It is the merchant!
Lopez! Here! Sergeant! Help me! Get him onto a stool! What is it? What happened?
A devil! I was attacked by a devil who leaped at me out of the shadows. He gave me no chance for a fair fight. Call the soldiers, senor!
I am a soldier. Tell me more of what happened.
I know nothing more. He attacked without warning and cut me with his blade. If I hadn't run...
I have a cloth with cold water. Move your hands and let me clean the blood from your face so we can bandage you. Look! Carved into his right cheek. The letter Z.
My prayers are answered. Zorro rides again!
A wonderful morning, eh, Bernardo? Brilliant morning sunshine. What is that you say? Yes, breakfast is better when eaten outside on the patio. You couldn't be more correct, my friend. Now, who could that be? Yes, I know it is early. Come, we'll both go, for whoever it is, the matter appears urgent. Capitan Rocha.
Don Diego,
It is early for a call.
this is not a social visit.
I presumed as much. I don't recall sending you an invitation.
It is a matter of business which brings me here.
It is unfortunate for you that I have nothing to do with business. The superintendent of the estate, a man with whom I trust completely, manages such affairs.
My business is with you alone, Don Diego. I would be pleased to expedite it.
In that case, I too shall be pleased. This way, please. Before we begin, may I ask the name of this person who seems to be in your company?
I am Juan Lopez. I am a merchant who trades in tallow and hides.
My nose has told me that much.
I am an honest man, senor. I work for what is mine, but look at what has been done to me!
Is the letter Z. Last night this merchant was set upon in the plaza by a man who carried a naked blade. 3 strokes of that blade have marked this man for life.
I should think so.
You recognize that mark. It is the mark of Zorro.
So it is, Capitan. Many an honest man in the land knows that mark, just as many a dishonest man wears it.
Your pardon, senor. But I insist that we get to the business of this visit.
Of course.
This merchant has made a complaint, and as Comandante I must listen to him. I am not so new in Riena de los Angeles that I haven't heard some say you know this Senor Zorro.
Many claim to know him, Capitan. But I dare say no one has seen him for quite some time. Or hadn't you heard? After your predecessor left in disgrace, Zorro also vanished.
I say he has returned, and this mark upon Lopez's face is proof.
And what do you say, Senor Lopez? Do you say it was Zorro who carved you? This, the mark of Zorro? Look at it, I ask you. Did you ever see the mark of Zorro on anyone?
No.
Observe this man's cheek. The upper bar of the Z tilts to the left, and the downward stroke is far too long. Senor, this mark was made most crudely, and not by a hand which by a single stroke and a quick twist of the blade engraved the proud sign of Zorro. Anyone who has seen that famous sign would say the same.
Diego de la Vega, you are a man of honor. Your word is sacred. Give me your word that Zorro has not returned, and I shall leave.
I do not give my sacred word in such trivial affairs.
Zorro did this to me! He must be arrested! What right has he to cut a man? I demand that you tell us what you know of this Senor Zorro, so he can be punished for what he has done!
Bernardo, would you please show Senor Lopez outside?
What? What are you doing? Let go of me! Let go, you fools! Let me... Oh!
Senor! Don Diego, this is an outrage!
How dare you bring that scum into my house?
I have my duty. If you would say if you knew whether Zorro had returned, it would be done with. If you do it now, the matter is ended. But you refuse!
And what if I knew, Senor Capitan? What would you do about it? Place me in jail or perhaps challenge me to a duel?
A duel. Your reputation as a man who avoids battle is well known in this town. Don Diego, in this district I represent His Excellency the Governor. I warn you that I shall endure none of this. If Zorro has returned, he must be punished. A man cannot take the law into his own hands. My soldiers and I are capable of preserving peace in Riena de los Angeles. We need no help from pretty gentlemen such as you and your friends.
Allow me to point out, Capitan, that you have interrupted my breakfast. Never before have I heard of such a thing. Is that a privilege of the soldiery? Must we starve at the wish of men like you in uniform?
You may go too far in your pleasantries.
I have no wish to be discourteous, but I must bid you a very good morning. And while warnings are being passed about, please allow me to warn you, Capitan.
Of what?
A man who once held your position here, Capitan Ramon, fled in disgrace wearing the mark of Zorro on his forehead.
Is that a threat, senor?
You may say that justice always comes to those who deserve it most. Buenos dias, senor.
Good day.
I agree, Bernardo. Capitan Rocha and this Lopez fellow must have something up their sleeves. Else why did they come to claim Zorro had returned? Which he surely hasn't. What concerns me now is they would spread the rumor to one who, if she believed the story, would raise false hopes to see Zorro again. Si, Bernardo, Senorita Lolita. In fact, saddle my horse. I believe I should ride to her now. Whoa! Just as I expected. A horse with a military saddle.
Ah, welcome, Don Diego.
You are always welcome in this house, no matter how early you arrive.
Buenos dias, Don Carlos. I see there are others abroad at this hour.
Captain Roja was passing by, or so he said. If I may say so, my son, this new Commandante is getting to be a pest.
If he gets to be nothing worse than a pest, we can overlook it.
Come.
Capitan Rocha, you flatter me.
I merely speak the truth, Donna Catalina.
Look who has come to visit us. Don Diego, may I present
The
Capitan...
Capitan and I have already met this morning. Donna Catalina, Senorita, I hope you are well.
Most well, Don Diego.
I feel I owe you an apology, Don Diego. I was compelled to call upon you and to bring that person, Senor Lopez, with me. We have orders from the governor to treat all merchants and traders with the respect and to give them every consideration. When he came to me, I could not refuse him. I am a soldier, senor, and I obey orders.
It is forgotten.
It is my opinion Lopez deserved to have his face carved. He cheats the Indians and does other things that are unmentionable in his company. I personally believe he is a fit subject for Senor Zorro's distinctive work.
Senor Zorro.
Si, senorita.
Ha! So Zorro rides again, eh? It is well. The people have forgotten the work he did. A few more passes of his keen blade will remind those who persecute the helpless to cease.
The Capitan here has said that a man must not take the law into his own hands. To do so puts him outside the law.
I was speaking for the benefit of that rascal Lopez.
Let me remind you, senor, that your warning was given after my servant had thrown the fellow out.
I thought he was still present.
We needn't discuss it further. These ladies are not interested in such events, I am sure. Let us talk of other things. Perhaps my marriage to the senorita.
My duties call me back to the Presidio. Ladies, Don Carlos, I bid you good day.